All right, we are live. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Simon. Very excited to have you today.
It's really excited to be here. I'm trying not to get distracted by Claude 3.5.
Yes, I'm excited. Watching you interact on the internet, it's like you seem to have this endless energy for every new AI thing that comes out, and now getting to see it in person makes more sense where it's coming from. You're like a kid in a candy store with this new tech.
This one, I was already like the Claude 3 models were already some of my favorite models, and this one is twice the speed and significantly better and half the price. This is great. 200,000 tokens. Yeah, it's and the vision stuff is extraordinary. I feel like people aren't paying enough attention to these vision models. The fact that you can now, I gave one of these models a screenshot of my blog the other day and said, come up with a better color scheme, and it spat out hex codes for me, and I applied them, and it looks better now. So, that's really exciting.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, I think we keep inching closer and closer to models that can code for you in a loop, see the output of what they're doing, keep going. Yeah, they can code like we can code, I guess.
That's the other big feature that Claude announced today. They have this thing called artifacts, which is basically you can ask the model, build me a little web app that does X, and it will write HTML and JavaScript and stick it in an iframe and put it on the page for you, and you can interact with it. And so you can literally have it build you little like one-off applications to solve basically anything. It's kind of their version of ChatGPT Code Interpreter. It's not quite as good, right? Code Interpreter is the thing that can write Python, execute the Python, see the results, and then loop on that. The Claude thing, they can't yet see the results itself. Like I've been playing with it, and I've been pasting screenshots back and forward and being like, yeah, I asked you to build, here's a screenshot, look at that error message. And then it'll go, oh, I'm sorry, and try again. But it's still like having something that can just spin up an interactive tool on demand in like a few seconds. Really interesting.
Yeah, really cool. I wonder if they've been inspired by the TL draw stuff. I think that's where
I mean, the TL draw stuff is extraordinary. That's the thing where, yeah, you could sketch out a user interface literally on a napkin and tell it, make that real, and it would feed its GPT-4, get back, I forget which JavaScript and CSS library they were using. It wasn't, well, Tailwind, I think they were using. And yeah, they'd build you an interactive thing. Yeah, so now you can do that with Claude, where you can just drop screenshots and say, hey, build me a version of this. We could do a quick demo, actually, since we've got screen sharing.
I'd love, here, I'll put your screen on there.
Okay, what would be let's do build me a web app that teaches me about fractals, Mandelbrot fractals with interactive widgets. This is ambitious. Let's see if this works. Yeah, okay, going to do that. This component includes explanatory text and an interactive Mandelbrot set viewer. Wow. Oh, it's using React.
That is fast.
Yeah, it's like this is the 3.5 Sonnet model, which is twice the speed of their previous best model. Okay, it's written an HSL to RGB function. I mean, I have no idea if this is going to draw me a fractal, but it looks like it might. It's got a slider. Okay, here we go.
Whoa! Wow!
How?
Holy!
Okay, yeah, I can zoom in. Yeah, that was good, right? That was. Oh, you can't. Unfortunately, I can't control the center of it. But
anyway, zoom in as much as you can. I'm curious.
My guess is
it gets fractally.
Yeah, I think because the fractals are on the edges, so I'd have to tell it do that again, but let me drag to pan. I'll try it again. Let me drag on the canvas element to pan around. If this works, I'll be impressed. Okay. Here we go. It's trying it again. Is dragging, set is dragging, use state, sure. Handle mouse down. I mean, this looks to me like it might work. What's the CSS class of these in text to Excel, font, bold, etc.? I guess that's
all Tailwind.
It worked.
Oh damn! It worked. Wow.
It worked. Bloody hell. Okay. Well. Oh, it looks like I've hit max.
Yeah. Now, make the iterations bigger so we can see more detail.
Oh, look at that.
Nice.
Yeah, that was. And I think you can actually. Can I edit the code here? No, I can't. That's a shame.
Oh, that would be wild.
Yeah, that would be. But that was that was a really good demo, and it's given me a full explanation down here of what it did with the event listeners and stuff. That was cool.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Wow. Yeah. All right. So so that's a whole thing that we can play with a bit more.
Yeah, and maybe we can have it write us some code for what we built today in Val Town. I guess maybe let's take a step back. I wanted to introduce you, although I don't think for my audience you'll need much introduction. You co-created Django, the Django Python web framework, and now you're
21 years ago, I think. Was it 21?
Wow.
Yeah, about 21 years ago. So that's I don't get to rest on those laurels anymore.
Well, fun fact, it's the first ever web framework that I was ever taught. I was like 18 years old in college, and there was a blog that I wanted to work on with a friend, and they're like, "All right, have you heard of Django?" And I was like, "No, I hadn't heard of anything." So that was wild.
That's amazing.
And now you're working on Datasette, and you're a prolific blogger. That's what it seems to me. Those are your two main projects.
Those are my biggest open source project is Datasette. The fun thing about Datasette is it's got a plugin architecture, and I've got 157 plugins. So I've now got, like, if you go on GitHub, I've got 866 repos at this point. And the important ones are the ones that have releases, and there's 277 of those, most of which are Datasette plugins. The other one that I've been working on recently is this project called LLM, which is a command line tool for language model stuff. So you can install it, and then on your command line, you can say things like cat myfile.py to LLM, tell it to explain this code, and it will split out an explanation, which is loosely affiliated with Datasette in that Datasette's all about SQLite databases. LLM writes everything to a SQLite database so that you can sort of record your experiments with different language models. And then I've got a few other things. This is one this one's a really fun one. I've got this. I do a lot of command line tools. This is a command line tool for taking screenshots of web pages. So you can say shot scraper URL and it dumps out a PNG. But you can also use it for screen scraping. So you can say shot scraper JavaScript, feed it the URL to a web page, and then say load that up in a headless like Playwright browser. Run this little piece of JavaScript on it and return the JSON. So now you can do screen scraping as a Unix command line thing and pipe it to other stuff. So a fun thing is I can screen scrape. I think I did a demo of this just the other day. I can use Shot Scraper to scrape a website and then pipe the results into LLM to pass them to a language model. Let's see if I've got that one. Yeah, here we go. So I've got a demo in here where I scrape Google, who are notoriously unhappy about being scraped, but you can scrape them with a little bit of JavaScript and use it to answer questions, like run this search and then pipe that into an LLM and say, use this to describe the term slop, and it'll output the answer based on the scraped Google results as a Unix pipeline. It's like proper 1970s Unix, which is super fun.
Wow. I love you think so composably. Like all of your tools are just these small little widgets that work with everything else.
Completely. It's the Unix philosophy. It turns out large language models are so compatible with the Unix philosophy because they're basically just functions that you send a prompt and you get a response. And once you've got that on the command line, you can pipe them together. You can do so many fun things with it.
Yeah, I think we have a question for you already. Who wants to know about your process for posting text streams? Yeah.
I mean, on my blog, it's Django. I have a Django app. I use the Django admin. I have little bookmarklets that will pre-fill bits of it that I don't really use very often. I mostly just copy and paste in URLs. And then my other blog, I have this TIL blog, which is currently separate from my main blog. This is little posts about things I've learned. So much like kind of little short things, basically publishing versions of my notes. This is actually running on Datasette. Like if I go to /, here we go. It's the database application. But Datasette supports custom templates, so I have a custom template on the homepage that makes it look like a website, and I've got custom templates for these various pages. But the fun one about that is that's all run out of a GitHub repository, and this one's just Markdown files. So I create a Markdown file like this one here, and then I've got a GitHub Actions workflow, which basically builds all of that stuff into a SQLite database. It uses ShotScraper to take these social media card images. So I've got like images generated of each of my entries. Does a whole bunch of stuff with embeddings and related content and all of that kind of stuff. And then it ships it off to Vercel at the end. And this is a pattern I use a lot. I call it the baked data pattern. The idea is that you deploy web applications where the content is in a SQLite database that's just another asset. So you can deploy database-backed web apps to inexpensive hosting providers like Heroku and Cloud Run that would normally ask you to go and pay extra for a database, but it's a read-only database, so who cares? But yeah, so that's I'm currently trying to figure out, should I combine the two blogs? But then if I do that, it's like, well, I want to have a Django project and I want to have a Datasette project. So if I combine the two, do I end up like losing one of those platforms?
Yeah, for dog fooding purposes, you mean? Like you just want to have, yeah.
It's good.
Do you still work on Django?
Hardly at all. I use Django. Like if I'm building a web app that uses Postgres, I'm building it with Django and Postgres. My Datasette Cloud, the hosting platform I'm building for Datasette, is a Django Postgres app that orchestrates Datasette containers. So user registration and all of that is in Django. And then when you click launch me a Datasette instance, it fires up a fly.io machine running Datasette in a container and all of that.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Well, I feel like we could just talk about you and your work all day, but let's transition to what we're going to work on in Val Town today. We had a lot of fun ideas. I guess we could talk about a couple of them in case anyone in the comments wants to help push us in one way or the other. But
yes.
Yeah, I'll let you take it away. It's just such great ideas.
The first one was, I love scheduled vals, being able to run a piece of code that does a thing that's always really useful. And Datasette, the latest version of Datasette 1.0 alpha, has a JSON write API. So it gives you a very nice API for writing content into Datasette.
And it's just like the same. So this is like a SQLite table with kind of like a things table. Like which table does it write to?
Whichever one you want. So if you say post to database/table and then say I want to insert rows, you feed it a JSON list of data and it'll insert them into that row. But you can also do things like you can upsert existing rows. The really fun one is that you can create a brand new table just based on schlepping some JSON to it. So if I say post to database/create and say I want the creatures table with these rows in, it will create you a SQLite schema with an integer ID table column and a name string column and a primary key of ID and all of that kind of stuff. One idea was the thing I've always wanted is a unified search interface across all of my stuff, right? I've got stuff on my blog, my TILs, tweets, Mastodon toots, GitHub issue comments, all of this different stuff. So there was an idea that we could build a bunch of scheduled vals that pull from a bunch of different sources and then shovel them all into a table in a Datasette Cloud instance and build something on top of that. And then Claude 3.5 came out this morning, and I got kind of excited to tackle a related idea, which is there's this thing called retrieval augmented generation, RAG. It's that thing with large language models where you want to answer questions. So you take the user's question and then you try and find information about that topic. You splat that all together into a prompt and you put the question at the end and you attempt to answer their question based on that context that you've collected. And there are sort of two ways that people build RAG. One of them is using fancy vector search engines, which I've played with, and they're really fun. And the other one is that you can just use it with a full text search engine. You can take the user's question, get a language model to turn that into some search queries, run the search, give it the results, and then assemble an answer based on that. I figure we can build that second one. We could build a RAG question and answering thing, probably against the content from my blog, because that's already available for us to use. But we could get something like that working, which I think would be really fun. And we could use the brand new Claude 3.5 5, we'll probably use Claude Haiku because it's dirt cheap. And for RAG, you don't really need a fancy model. You just need one that can do good summarization. But yeah, so that's my pitch right now is let's build a RAG question answering system against content from my blog served via Datasette.
Awesome. So what sort of queries are you imagining us sending it?
So that's a great question. I've played with RAG against my blog before, and I've done things like what is shot scraper, and tried to answer the question describing shot scraper based on content in my blog. That kind of thing works pretty well. But so that's probably, I think that's I know that kind of thing works against this data, so I feel like that's the sort of starting point. The reason RAG is so difficult is it is impossible to predict the questions people will ask. And inevitably, somebody will ask a question like, what was Simon thinking about in January 2012? But if you haven't built your RAG system so that it knows that, oh, that's a date search, not a full text search, you'll get weird results. So we can iterate on that a little bit. The way to build really good RAG is that you have to come up with hundreds of potential questions and then automated evaluations that you can run to make sure that your system's retrieving the correct content. We're not going to go anywhere near that. That's really difficult. That's how you build good RAG as opposed to exciting prototype demo RAG. And we're going to do the exciting prototype demo version.
All right, sounds great.
So I'm going to quickly, let's talk about what we've got. So my blog has 3 kinds of content, right? There are blog entries, which are sort of long form writing. There are what I call blog marks, which is a term I invented about 21 years ago, or adopted about 21 years ago. It's bookmarks, right? Originally, these were very short form, like a URL and a little description. And then in the past few months, I've been doing them much longer because I got inspired by Daring Fireball, where most of the stuff on Daring Fireball is actually just a link blog with commentary. And then every now and then he posts like an epic essay. But actually, if you look at his blog, it's basically the most successful link blog. So I've got blog marks. And then the other thing I've got, which is actually quite fun, is quotations. So every now and then I'll just copy and paste something somebody said and stick it up as that type of content. So we've got 3 types of content. We've got 3,000 entries, 7,000. It's about 12,000 items of text, which is decent. You know, it's a good corpus to play with. And then, as I mentioned earlier, this is all in a big Django app. So I've just got like my blog marks, and I can add them. And here's the interface I use for that. But we need an API for this. So Django runs on Postgres, but a couple of years ago, I set up I use GitHub Actions for all sorts of things. I set up a GitHub Actions backup of my blog. So what this does is it runs, I think, what is this? I can't remember the cron syntax. Here we go. 26 every 2 hours,
Whoa.
right? It runs every 2 hours. And what it does is it uses another tool I built called DB to SQLite, which you can give a Postgres like connection string to and tell it, I want all of these tables and stick them in a SQLite database called simonwillisonblog.db. And so it does that. So every 2 hours, it mirrors my Postgres database to a local SQLite database. It redacts the passwords from it, does a few other little bits and pieces. And then it, if something has changed, it flattens that out into this directory here. So this is basically a JSON version of all of the data on my blog. Like this is what, a 4.42 megabyte JSON file of all of my bookmarks. It's actually new line delimited JSON with like an array for each one. But this is cool because now I've got diffs. So this is basically revision control for my blog, where I can see that, what did I do? 9 hours ago, I added a new blog mark talking about Sound Slice, and I tagged it a few times. And I also added a quotation, this one here. But I like this. Partly it's my emergency backup. Like GitHub is free and they mirror to 3 different continents. So the chance of me losing any of the content in my blog is basically nothing now. But the other thing that this does is it publishes that SQLite database it created using Datasette. So it goes Datasette published, this time to Google Cloud Run, and it runs on, it's running on one of the Datasette alphas, sets a few options, installs a few plugins. And now I've got this. I've got datasette.simonwilson.net, and this is a Datasette instance containing all of that SQLite database, which I think is about 95 megabytes now, of all of my blog content. And this gives me an API. So if I want to do API stuff with, say, all of my blog marks where I mentioned Ruby on Rails, there's 16 of those. I can get those out as JSON. That's a JSON URL that I can now paste into other systems. So this is everything we need, right? For Val.town, we can hit this API to run queries against the content. And you can go a step further than that, and you can actually write custom SQL. So here is a SQL query that's doing, this is the worst version of full text search in SQLite, because it's not sorting by, it's not taking the ranking into account. It's just doing a join. But I think what I can do is I can do that join blog mark FTS on row ID on blog that dot row ID equals that dot row ID, where order by rank. Let's see if this works. Ambiguous column link title. Oh, that's annoying. I'm going to have to. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste that into Claude, and I'm going to be like, oh no. Okay.
Maybe
Claude,
there's
there we go. Okay, that add blog mark dot in front of all of the select clauses. I use language models for this kind of thing all the time. I just can't be bothered to do the typing. There we go. Okay, it's done that for me. That was the new Sonnet. That was speedy. So now I can go here and run this query, and if I'm lucky, there we go. That looks like it's ordered by rank, which is great. The other thing we're going to do, I've got this function here, escape FTS, because SQLite's full text search actually has syntax where you can add like and, or, not, near, things like that.
Oh,
is great, except if your user doesn't know about it and they use one of those keywords, they might get broken search results. So my escape FTS function like escapes those different things. If we get rid of that, now I can do Ruby or Rails or Python or JavaScript. And did that work? It still seems very... it's because I've got Ruby or Rails, that's why. If I say Ruby or Python or JavaScript, now we're getting... There we go. Now we're getting back a mix. Now, an interesting thing there, and the reason I think this is going to work for a RAG thing, is that the OR queries still work for relevance searching. So you can literally take like 30 words, stick OR in between all of them, and you will get back the document that is most relevant to most of those words, which is probably what we want. Like, let's try what or is or shot scraper. Oh, and now we see the reason I escaped the full text search things. Shot hyphen scraper was treated as a, like, as a, I'm not sure entirely sure what was going on there, but it was definitely affecting the search query. If we put in double quotes, it does work. This just worked.
Could you put the whole query in double quotes, or that doesn't make sense?
I could put in. What I'll probably end up doing is each individual word like that. What or is or shot scraper. This is kind of working. I think this is...
explain the blog underscore blog mark underscore FTS.
Yes. So the way SQLite full text search works is, this is a regular database table. This is the blog mark table. And then what you can do, I've got a bunch of hidden tables here. You can tell SQLite to create a full text search table, which is a special kind of table. Here we go. And this table copies in the data from another table, but it also, this is the kind of table that supports the full text search matching operations. So the way, and this is one of the various patterns that you can use for SQLite full text search. I think I've got this documented in the Datasette docs. Yeah, here we go. So you need, it's a virtual table. It's a FTS virtual table that you can then run ranking against. Because SQLite under the hood, the search implementation is actually really good. It's like proper full text search indexing where it tracks statistics across the entire corpus. So it can do like BM25 ranking where it says, okay, this word is super rare, documents with it in should rank really highly. This word here is really common, so the fact that it was in your search query doesn't actually mean much for relevance. And that makes it better than Postgres. Postgres full text search is good, but it doesn't do full index statistics. And SQLite does, which is kind of amazing. And SQLite full text search is available almost anywhere SQLite is. Like if you've got Python installed, you've got SQLite, you've got a really good full text search engine hidden in the Python standard library that nobody knows about. The other utility I built, SQLite Utils. This is my command line tool and Python library for doing stuff to SQLite databases. And it's got a bunch of functionality relating to full text search. Here we go. So you can, from Python, you can say, enable full text search against these columns, and then you can run searches. You can do the same thing in the command line tool as well. So actually, where's full text search in here? There we go. So there's a command you can run because SQLite Utils enable FTS on the documents table in my DB with these things. And that's actually how all of this stuff's working. If you look at my file here, I think, oh, where's it gone? I thought I was configuring full text search in here, but now I can't. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's my TILs. Yeah, hold on. So yeah, this workflow here, halfway down, it does this. SQLite Utils enable full text search on, oh, the blog series thing has it as well, and tags, quotations, entries, blog marks. So all of that set up with the Porter tokenizer, and it has triggers created and all of that kind of stuff. And that's really fun trick. It means that you can use this whole tool chain to build a full text search database that lives in a little SQLite database really quickly. But yeah, so combining all this together, we have, you know what, I'm gonna run the same search that what is shot scraper one against my blog entries. Let's do blog entry.star, and then we don't have to write all of these out again. So if I do that from blog entry, join blog entry FTS.
I see.
Whoa! I just used that the Apple D shortcut, and it selected multiple things, like in VS Code. That must be a new feature in the I'm using Code Mirror for this editor. I hadn't realized that it had that in there. That's really cool. But yeah, so now we run this, and what or is or shot hyphen scraper. There we go. The second entry here is the shot scraper documentation. Not entirely sure why the other ones showed up. Like if we just search for shot scraper, we get much better results. So actually, I think we need to, like, skipping the, I think maybe what it is we should think of as stop words and not include them in the search term that we're running, which we can do. That's
I guess Claude will probably take care of that by not including them in
exactly.
what it suggests.
If we ask Claude, get me relevant search terms, I think we'll get the right things for this. Or see, we probably want keywords, not terms, because if we ask for terms, it'll give us whole phrase searches. But yeah, should we build some stuff then?
Let's do it.
Okay. So I guess I create a new. Ooh, I want an HTTP handler for this, right? If I'm going to build an interactive, or can I upgrade to an HTTP handler later on?
Yeah, you can.
Let's do that then. So we'll get it working just here. Apricot Dragon, let's call it Brag with Claude. Okay.
You need like underscores, not dashes. We know we need to fix that.
Gotcha. Okay. There we go. So let's Brag with Claude. Okay, so you've got an example from earlier which does some of this, right? You've got an Anthropic streaming demo.
Yes.
I mean, I'm interested in that one mainly because it shows me how to use the Anthropic SDK. So that's this one here.
Yeah. I bet we could find an example that doesn't do streaming if you want to do something.
Yeah, let's
simpler.
skip streaming for the moment, but also so there.
I bet Codium could help you if you just imported it. It probably would help you. Yeah, just copy this. That's probably great.
Well, I was looking for the version number because it looks like they put out 0.24 3 hours ago.
Oh,
so
makes sense. Makes sense.
I've lost my editor. Have I lost my editor? Maybe it's that one. There we go. Okay, so we do this. Okay. Nice. Okay. So yeah, what's the easiest way to run a prompt, do you reckon?
Yeah, right there. That looks good.
So how do I give it that API key? Like, is this the correct syntax with the process.env, or is there something else I need to?
So what they told you in that comment is that if you name your key exactly that, then you don't need to pass it. It's like implicitly passed. So
Okay.
why don't you just copy that key name and then delete passing it from here?
So get rid of that.
Just make it
and
like
just new Anthropic like
exactly.
that. Yep. Okay, and that's going to
then
complain because is that the error from my previous one or the current one?
Yeah, that's the error from the previous one. I bet it'll complain once you use it to like do something.
Yes.
But
Let's try Anthropic dot. I'm going to try this. So I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to do const messages, and then console.log is a reasonable thing to do, right? Console.log.
Yep, that's perfect.
Haiku about pelicans in space. And this one, I need to go and...
Ooh, here, no, I'm waiting. If you go back for a second,
yep.
So you delete the model string and do control space. Yeah.
And that's we're going to do the new one. Right. Length. I'm going to see what it thinks a lengthy haiku is, which is a contradiction in terms. Is there a pretty print? Is there a pretty print here? Yes, there is. Perfect.
It should do its. Yeah. Oh, I see what you meant. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. That worked. Okay. So now I need. So with environment variables, do these become available to all of my?
Yes. Yeah. Over time, we're going to make them scope to vals, but right now they're global.
Okay, Anthropic API key. I've got one of these that I can paste in. Nice.
On my last stream, we had trouble with that, so I made it a password field.
Nice, thank you. I'll code again. How did I lose my code? Oh, go back here. Yeah. Okay, so now this might actually run.
Looks like it.
It's taking a little.
Would be nice.
Okay. Oh, look at that. Oh, why can't it kind of got the gist. Is there a way that I can see the full log message here?
Not retroactively. Because like Dino's log, it's truncated fundamentally.
And it truncates in JSON, but hopefully not in a string.
Hopefully.
We'll see in a moment. I think we're going to dip.
I was.
Look at this.
Nice.
Somewhat paradoxical. I can create a series of connected haikus about pelicans in space. These are quite good. I'm not going to count the vowels and make sure it got stuck to the rules, but wow. But yeah, it took 4 seconds, which is fast-ish. But what we actually want is let's switch to haiku and see how much faster it is. There we go. 2.2 seconds. That's impressive. That was only about half the. It did not notice that a haiku is a contradiction, so points to the new model for that. But this is great. We now have everything we need, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want a UI, like a search UI, where you can like submit search queries here?
Let's build that. Let's get that once we've done a successful RAG question answering. Let's build the UI at that point. Okay, so what does this val need to do? It needs to, we'll have some input, and for the moment, let's do const q equals what is shot scraper. Let's do content. I think we actually want to do one of those. We want to do a system prompt thing here. Is it
so? I think so. So the way Anthropic works, I think, is system prompt is like at the same level as messages. It's just like it's not past there.
Gotcha. Let's have another look at that Anthropic npm thing.
I'm sending you a link in our private chat. Oh wait, hold on. I don't think the link worked.
So I've got
a link to the.
I'm going to dig it out of my existing Claude 3 code.
Yeah. I'm sure you've done it before.
Yep. It looks like. Oh, you can pass a system prompt as one of the arguments to the create thing. Okay, system colon suggest individual search keywords to help answer this question. Let's see if this works. And then the content is question. Oh no. That did not work at all.
Well,
I'm going to add.
I guess I feel like I would want to give it. Oh, nice. That's no yapping. That's nice. Is there a JSON mode for Anthropic?
There is, yes. Yeah, that's a great idea. We'll tell it that we want it to come back with. I've got a cookbook entry about it. Messages. No, not that one. Use role assistant. Where is the No, this is. When's this from? Is this from ages ago? They've definitely got a JSON mode.
I think like I'm looking on their docs and it says it just seems like it's they have like techniques for it.
I'm really surprised. I could have sworn they added.
Yeah, that's what I found.
Maybe they call it tool use. Here we go. They call it tool use. And it is a thing. You can say tools equals. Do they have a JavaScript example on here?
JSON output, I see on the right.
Tool use examples. I mean, we could try and just guess. Okay. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to dump this example in.
Sure.
There's the copy button. Okay, so hit up Claude. I'm going to say, based on that example and this type JavaScript code. Where's our? There we go. Okay, based on that and that, guess the JavaScript for setting up a tool which just returns a list of strings called suggested search keywords.
You know, I wonder if giving it the context that it's part of a RAG system. I feel like it kind of knows what RAG is.
That's probably a good idea, yeah. For the moment, let's see. What did it just come up with? Okay, so we're still using Haiku.
Nice. That looks cool.
Logs undefined, but that's let's log the whole of message and see.
Yeah.
That worked.
Yeah, there we go. That
worked. Amazing. I do this a lot. I love that you can just paste random examples of like, here's one example. Use that to figure it out. And yeah, in this case, it correctly guessed that the tools JSON just turns into an argument to create. That seems reasonable. Suggested description, list of suggested.
Do we want one word keywords?
Yeah, list of suggested single word search keywords.
Or we could do it ourselves. We could just like split on space, but let's see.
Shot scraper web. Yeah, that's possibly because we're using Haiku. Let's upgrade. Let's switch to what was the keyboard combination there? There we go. Let's switch back up to 3.5 Sonnet. There we go.
Oh,
magic.
Wow.
Okay, great. So what I'm going to do for the moment is I'm just going to grab that list of keywords. I guess
yeah, this is good code to. I feel like it's easy to write that code, like .join space or .join or, and then with quotes. I feel like that's.
Yeah, this is going to be fine, isn't it? So keywords equals that, just for the moment, and then we need to turn that into. I mean, the easiest thing would probably be what to do. Keywords.map s to. We need double quote the keyword. Message is not defined. Why is it? Because I've still got that. Yeah.
Just commented it. Yeah. Oh, you didn't log it.
Oops. Syntax error.
Nice.
Okay, and then I do that dot. Is it dot join in JavaScript? Yeah.
Yep. You're just joining the log. Yeah. You're print. Yeah. There you go.
Oh yeah. That's what's wrong, isn't it?
Nice.
There we go. Okay, so we've got a search term. I'm going to try that in the thing that we knocked together earlier. That was this one here, right? And we've got rid of the escape FTS. That looks great. Those are the results that we want, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw this. If you would go to the Val Town blog, it's just blog.val.town. You'll see that like the most recent project we did is like embedding search. And I think if we have time, I feel like it'd be the top one.
Oh, Val Vibes, nice. Yep.
And like I think like really the hard part about this is creating like an embeddings database. By far, that's the hardest part about this project.
Got one of those already.
It's such a funny. It's such a funny hack to be like, screw the embeddings database. Like, let's just have it give me words. Let's just we already have words.
Yep. And well, that's so. If you think about it, the most widely deployed versions of RAG are Google Gemini, Google Bard, like what are they calling it? Google Gemini, Perplexity.ai. They're doing RAG this way, right? When you search Perplexity, they are not doing embedding search. They are taking a question, turning it to a bunch of search queries and running it that way. Same thing in ChatGPT. If you do the ChatGPT browse mode thing, that will do exactly the same trick. So it works, right? It's been deployed at scale already. And it's so much easier, right? The embeddings, like this right here, is a database of embeddings against some of the content on my blog, but it's not currently updated. Actually, my TIL blog has got updated embeddings. Here we go. This table here, each of these is a binary representation of I think it's an OpenAI embedding against the content in this text. And so the only thing I use them for here right now is any of these has a little related items thing at the bottom. And these
that's awesome.
These are created using embeddings. I think I've got a TIL about it, haven't I? Yeah, embeddings.
We need to expose this in Val Town. We need like a related Val section at the bottom.
Totally. The embeddings work so well for that. And yeah, it cost me 4 cents to embed all 400,000 tokens of data on my blog. Like, this stuff is not expensive. And so yeah, this blog entry here took. The embedding searches, the related content searches, were running brute force, and they were taking like half a second, which was long enough that I ended up building a similarities table. So this table here is a pre-caching of the relevancy scores between all of my different things. What's fun about this is that if I sort it ascending, I get the least related data. So my TIL about how to cook breakfast tacos is as far as you can put the thing about how to attach bash to a running container in Docker. And then if you do it the other way around, these two are almost exactly identical. How to write playwright tests for Datasette and how to write PyTest tests for playwrights. And that's kind of fun, right? Embeddings are super entertaining. But yeah, so skip embeddings entirely, which is going to be interesting. Okay, so we've got this. This works. Now what we need to do is we need to turn that into an API call. And here's the. Oh, I just pulled back the body column to see. No, I was hoping that the body column would have HTML stripped. It doesn't. So I think we're just stuck with the HTML, which we could strip tags in the JavaScript before we send it to Claude, just to save on tokens. But if we're using Haiku, it probably doesn't matter. Okay, so SQL query takes a search query. You'll notice that the search query is, because it's :search in here, it becomes a parameter in the query string at the top. So we've effectively got a little API here as a URL.
Wow.
And if I hit the JSON link here, here's the JSON data. So
all right.
Rows, we can add &_shape equals array on the end to knock it into a slightly simpler shape. And then actually we're going to want, have we got a limit clause in here? I think we have. Where something order by rank limit. Yeah, let's look at now from 100. Let's just do 10. Okay. Yeah. So I've now got an API endpoint that will return 10 results matching that search term. So let's use that. Okay. So we've got that. Now, actually, I'm going to do this slightly more elegantly. I'm going to grab the original SQL query. Here we go. That. And I'm going to.
That is more elegant for sure.
Yeah, this is just a little bit nicer. Const. Oh, let's do it as a backtick thingy. Okay, so now we've got the SQL. We've got the const search equals that. And we've got that base URL. So in JavaScript, what's the best way to assemble a URL with a bunch of, like, how can I feed it an object that's like SQL::SQL, etc., and have it turned into a proper URL you can fetch?
There's something called, new, like, URL param. Yeah, there you go.
That's the one.
So yeah, new URL search params.
Oh, so you have to new it. Okay.
I think so.
What if I can feed it just search, what was it, search SQL, and then, oops, console.log params. Where's my semicolon?
The end of line 50. The end of line 55 has an extra right parentheses at the end when you're console.logging.
Okay, that seems to have worked. Okay, how do I turn that?
If you pop out toString on it, or if you just naturally put at the end of a URL, it'll do that automatically. Yeah.
And then we're going to use fetch on. That looks good. Okay, so we want. We also wanted to do shape : array, I think was what we were doing there. Okay, so const URL equals that question mark. Plus, I could probably just do that. I don't need the toString, do I?
Probably.
What happens if we do await fetch URL .json? Is that right?
And then that's right. Yeah, you just want to console.log that or something.
Why does it not like? Oh, no, there we go. There we go.
All right.
Okay. Oh, you know what? I think we only need the title and the body as well. So actually in the SQL, we can say blog entry.title. Let's do blog entry.id, blog entry.title, and blog entry.body. And I'll grab blog entry.created just in case we end up doing something useful with that. Boomf. Okay.
Cool. Well, if you wanted to like strip HTML and stuff, now that's probably pretty easy. But
yeah, okay. Yeah, what's a good HTML stripping trick? We could get Claude to come up with one.
Yeah, let's see.
Let's do, okay, JavaScript to strip HTML from a string. Use npm modules if you like. Okay, we're going to use the HE module, apparently.
Great.
No, I don't like that. Why is it? It's doing it with a regular expression. And then it's decoding HTML entities. Well, if we're going to do that, we may as well just use the regex directly.
Yeah.
So what's the most idiomatic way to do that, I wonder?
Yeah, I don't see anything in... do you have the AI Codium thing turned on? Because we could turn it on and prompt it here, and it could help.
Oh, great. Yeah, how do I do that? Is that
code in editor settings?
Settings editor, yeah.
And then AI suggestions.
Sweet. Is that it?
Yeah, hit save, and then just go back and refresh the page.
Brilliant. Nice. Okay. So let's try this then. Strip HTML tags from each body. It was called body, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Body property modify in place. Okay. Is it going to do it? Oh. Yep. That'll do. I think that's right. Okay, cool. That was easy. Yeah, there we go. Magic. Oh, this is super fun. Okay, let's do context equals glue together a string of the title and body in one go. Result.map, maybe. That'll do. That looks good to me. How long is this? Annoying thing about Claude is that there's no available token counting library for it. They won't release the token. I mean, if it's haiku, the length of this context is 72,000 characters. That's going to be fine. Haiku accepts, I think, up to 200,000 tokens, and a token's a lot more than a character. So,
do you want to do Claude, the new thing for tokenizing, and then the cheap thing for? Yeah, how do you want to do it?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do. So at the moment, we're going to use Sonnet to get the keywords, and then we'll use haiku to actually return to summarize the content. Okay, so we want sure. How does this work? Like, is this a TypeScript? There's a type annotation somewhere that says these constants are allowed?
So the control, we have like 4 different autocomplete systems. So the one you're asking about is when you're in Anthropic and you want to autocomplete on the model, you do control space. That is the TypeScript language server inspecting the type of the Anthropic object.
And then presumably then Anthropic's SDK and TypeScript as of 3 hours ago, I'm going to guess they added that model as a available string. Yeah, there it is. Okay, that's neat. That's really neat.
The internet. What a
Maybe there is
place.
something whole TypeScript thing. That's nice. That's a really nice little piece of like developer experience thing there.
Yeah.
Okay. So, question: what's the best way to feed the context to the model? I think I'm just going to do this. Well, assistant, content. Thank you for the context. I am ready to answer your question. This is one of many ways of this.
I wonder if you should put the question, then the context. Like you could give it the whole context of like, here's the question, here's the search keywords, here's the results of the search keywords.
Oh, I see what you mean. We can try it. For the moment, I have a hunch that this will work, but we'll see in a moment.
All right.
Let's do console.log. Can you remember what the it was message.content. Oh, that'll probably do. Okay.
I'm sure, or I feel like it's highly likely that Codium would figure it out if you gave it the chance.
So it's flipping hell. Okay, what's the what's the way to get it to log out the full length of the line, or are we always going to get truncated?
Yeah. No, it's good. You go up to there, and then there you go.
I wonder why it's got a wiggle under it. Huh.
I guess you could do the control space, like delete text, and see what properties it wants to give you. Type. Yeah. So it doesn't. So you need to convince it that it's not the other type of thing. So it wants you to perform like an if statement.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to ignore that for the moment. But okay, this sodding worked. Look at this. Something key things about JavaScript. It takes screenshots, executes JavaScript. This is great. This is great. Let's turn it into a web app, into a web interface.
Awesome. We should call it like I feel like it's like Simon's Brain or Ask Simon is the name. or actually, you should call it Simon Says, obviously.
Oh no. Oh, that's awful. But yeah, okay, let's see that. Okay, how do we upgrade this thing into a web interface?
So if you just move your cursor directly left to where it says script.
Gotcha. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So that.
Okay.
And then you'll have to change the privacy to public, so that people can make HTTP requests to it, or unlisted either way.
Okay. It's unlisted for the moment.
Cool.
Okay.
And now we just need to export a handler function that returns a response. So the easiest thing to do for now would just be export at the bottom, export default a function.
Yep.
Cool. And then instead of return message, do response.json, capital R response.json. Return response.json, and then and then whatever it wants to figure it out. Whatever it wants to put in there is probably good. Yeah, message. Yeah, perfect. You got it.
Okay. So I've got that, and now, it's unhappy about those underscores.
It doesn't really matter. The underscores are your username is already in the name, so.
Okay, let's do rag with Claude. Nice. Okay, it's called rag with Claude. It now has that, and if I hit enter here, okay. So yeah, what's the well? Let's. How do we get this to accept a query string parameter?
So the first thing is you'll want to make an input to the function. I would suggest req:_request, so you get the good.
Okay.
And then on the very first line, I would recommend. That's not quite going to work. On the very first line, do like const URL equals, and then
Yep. Gotcha.
that, and then const search, yeah, something like that. Yeah, there you go.
Not question. Return response.json. That'll do. Okay. So now there are two phases, right? First phase is turn the question into search terms. And we wrote this up here. Let's turn this into a function, shall we? Function suggest keywords, question, and do that. Const message equals that. Okay. And then at the end of this, we return, but it's not that we actually want. How do we turn that into JSON?
It's the other one, yeah. If you wanted to, we know it's tool use actually, so we should say like message.content 0 at, like, we should say it like as tool use or as something. Hover over it. It should know. It should hover content blog. Do dot type again.
What dot type here? Yeah.
Yeah. So
tool use. Tool use. Okay.
So why don't you say like if the type is text, then throw an error. So then that'll convince that'll convince TypeScript that. And you just we're not in this context. And yeah, great.
Yeah.
And then underneath this, now it's the right type.
Gotcha. Okay. Wow, that was a neat trick.
Let's see if it's what is keywords? Like, why does it not like keywords there?
I mean, keywords.
Here, if you delete keywords and then let's see what's there. Dot. Ooh, cool. So input, I would do, and then I think what is it not like anymore?
I mean,
perfect. I think now we're good.
Okay. So what we're going to do then is we're going to have this. Oh, no, let's do await just keywords. Did I define that function as async function? Do I need to do that? Like, should this be async function?
Yeah. Good call.
It is async function, right? Because it's got an await in it there. Okay, and then if I down here say that, and then return that. Okay, so now if I run this here, it should give me an error message, right? It should.
Maybe save it first. I don't know if you've done that recently.
Oh, do I need to? Yeah, I think you're right. There we go. Unreserved word at line 31. Any idea what that means?
It's actually line 108, which is terrible. I think this function needs to be async too. Export
default async function. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so now this should. Yep, that's fine. Great. And then if we say what question equals, fingers crossed. So we know it's going to be a little bit slow there.
Yeah, cool.
That's it. Great. Only and it did give me back exactly what I wanted because I told it to give me back keywords :
Yeah.
Okay. So now we've done that. Run the actual search, and that was let's do async function search. Just take keywords. I'm going to call it run search. That's all correct. Yep. Great. That's all done the right thing. And now I'm going to do. It's got got the const URL. Yep, it's got that. It's got that. Great. And now we're going to... What happened there? Okay, let's get that. We'll strip the HTML. We'll glue together the context. Let's just do all the rest of this in one go. So run the actual search. There we go. Strip HTML tags, glue the context together, run the rag thing, return response.json answer. Give this a go. Oh, did it just... So I think we're probably just about out of time, so we maybe won't add streaming right now, but look at that. Look at that. Hot
That's awesome.
Wow. Okay. This is fantastic. I need to... There's one last thing I'm going to do. I'm going to stick a .slice 0.40 on this, purely so nobody with this URL can like use it to send expensive Claude queries on my behalf. And I'll do a time up here. Probably only needs to return 128. There we go.
You know what you could do? Well, I feel you could send yourself like an email. Like Val Town makes it easy to send yourself an email. You could send yourself an email every time someone uses this, or I guess you don't want it every time someone uses it. But
right. I mean, I can't remember if there's a way to do API keys in Claude that are budget limited. OpenAI finally added that a few weeks ago.
Oh, that's cool. You could be tracking characters and things like that, but for now I think it's...
But this is awesome. Okay, I'm going to try it a couple more times. Let's do what is S3 credentials. Oh, why did that?
Oh, that was interesting.
What's going on there?
Oh, maybe...
I mean, surely it doesn't want me to add to manually escape the... It does. Oh, well, it worked. Let's see what we get.
Maybe that's just a Firefox thing. I don't know.
Oh, look at this. I got back the exact same answer because somewhere I've got one bug that we can fix. Like, where did question come from? Question came from suggest keywords. We've got... So there's the problem.
Nice. What about one thing that I really like doing is you ask it to well, this is probably not something we want to do now.
Question. I was going to add one last thing. I'm going to do that, and then we'll also send back keywords just so that you can see what keywords it used.
Nice. Nice.
Okay. And now if I hit this, rate limit error. Oh no. Okay, I've hit my Claude rate limit. That's surprising, actually. I wonder if that's because I'm using the fancy new model and they've got a much tighter rate limit on it. Or it could just be that I accidentally left this one running at the same time. Like this was already...
I wouldn't be surprised if it's because they just launched a new thing and everybody's trying it and their servers are melting.
It worked. It worked. S3 credentials command line tool to make AWS credentials. The key thing about it solves the comment. Fan-bloody-tastic. Look at
awesome.
that.
So fun.
Okay. So my last closing question, we built a JSON API. What is the Val.Town recommended way of turning this into a a web page with a form and a button on it?
Yeah. The easiest way today would be to do it all server-side HTML probably, and to have two routes, like an index route and then a query route. So unfortunately that doesn't work. You do new response and then just pass that in. Great. And then you'll have to do comma headers and then comma left curly bracket and then headers colon. It really should. Yeah, there you go. But text HTML.
And then I'm going to do. Let's do.
If you
it'll write me a whole thing, isn't it?
You could it could do that. Or if you really wanted to be silly, you could ask Claude to return you HTML as its answer. So sometimes I do that.
Dreadful idea. I wonder how hard that would be. It might. Let's give it a go.
You just add a system prompt that says return your prompt at the top. Yeah, like as it's on like return a full HTML document as your answer.
Okay.
Hold on. For on line 898, that just needs to be HTML maybe to like convince it like what it is.
Make it pretty.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's clever.
I would be so delighted if this works. Go on. God, it is the. Yes.
Oh man.
With exciting, relevant CSS. Okay, that's my last twist on this.
Relevant CSS.
Cross-site scripting hole in here as well for a prompt injection cross-site scripting hole where you could trick it with the question to output who knows what. Yes.
Oh man.
Oh my god, let's try it for this one here.
What's relevant CSS going to be for what is S3 credentials?
One of my favorite prompts to DALL-E and things like that is I always like telling it, make me a pelican wearing an inappropriate hat. Look at this. I mean, it got cut off because I set it at token limit, but actually this is really annoying. It's no longer answering the question. It's gone into like faking text that I didn't write stuff. So that's but the idea of getting Claude to do the HTML and the CSS is quite delightful. Okay, I'm going to do one last experiment, and then we should probably wrap things up. But I'm going to switch this to the new model and see how that one makes things. Okay, and let's do. I'll just do what is Datasette question mark. Let's see what we get. Oh, interesting. This right here is this browser preview is an iframe. Are you using any special security tricks, CSP headers, things to make sure that the stuff in there doesn't steal cookies from? Why did it do that? I'll try enter here.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Interesting. So it's on a different domain. So like mostly different domain and iframes natively. Wow, that's pretty. It's like modern.
Oh my god! It did it with what? How did it even do that? Okay, I'm edit HTML. Let's grab this whole thing. I want to see what it actually wrote. Yeah, look at this. Yeah, it wrote out CSS. It did display. It's using Flexbox. That was fantastic. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that was pretty great. Okay, I'm very, very happy with how that one worked out.
Nice. I guess if you have maybe 5 minutes, we could do streaming. And streaming in this context is really fun because you get to see the HTML page getting built.
I'm just checking my calendar. Hang on. I shouldn't. No, I should. I've got another thing I need to jump into.
All right, cool.
But
alrighty,
this was cool. Like, wow. Okay. So yeah, next steps. I'll make sure that this code is available for people to take a look at. Maybe I'll let people paste in their own Claude API keys, and they don't have to worry about billing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So one thing you could do to gate it for right now is there's this when I use Val Town, it's kind of like when you use Datasette. There's just like all these little utilities that nobody else knows about. So there's a function, like a middleware function called basic auth, where if you just wrap your
async function around here.
Yeah, exactly. So type the @ symbol, and then
like here or
so yeah, right there. Type the @ symbol and then basic auth. Yeah,
this
that's
one,
the one.
Gotcha.
And so that imported it for you, and then yeah, just wrap it, and then Command Enter to rerun. No, yeah, that's yep. And then open it. Yeah, click that. And so this is so now it's like it's kind of locked down. Your just for convenience, your Val Town API token, any of your Val Town API tokens is a valid password.
As the password, and then leave the username blank. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I'll try that out later. That's a great trick. Okay. This was really fun. So this is going up on YouTube as well, right?
Yeah, it's already on YouTube and Twitter.
Are there any questions that we should address just before we wrap up?
Let's look. It looks like the last question was about the multi-select command, which is Command D. It's a great one. And is this your next meeting? Is Alex where you're heading next?
Yes. Is Alex there?
Yes. He said, "I can't wait."
Oh, cool. Okay. In that case, if he's here, I can do another 3 minutes because he knows why I'm going to be late. This was okay.
Did you delete all your code by accident?
I don't think so. I hope not. No, there it all is.
Okay, cool. Nice, great.
The other thing I can do is I will dump that all in a rag demo.js
or .ts probably.
Is it val.town spelled like that?
Yeah.
Yep, val.town demo from this morning. I'm going to make that a public gist. So if anyone wants to see that code, go to gist.github.com/SimonW, my most recent public.
Yeah. It's also public on Val Town, the code.
Yes. Cool. Yeah, awesome. This was super fun. Thank you very much for having me along today.
Yes, thank you. So much fun and very timely after this Anthropic 3.5.
Yeah, which turns out it's got some element of taste to it when you like make me a nice web page about this, and it goes ahead and does it. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. Well, thanks again, and I will catch you later.
Cool. Okay. Bye.